a ballistic missile at Riyadh. It was brought down by an anti-missile system in the southern part of Saudi Arabia and landed harmlessly in unoccupied territory about 120 miles southwest of Riyadh. But what the American administration is doing is really billing this arms agreement as an opportunity for closer cooperation strategically between the United States and Saudi Arabia, and as well an opportunity for Saudi Arabia to take a greater hand in its own defense. You know, the United States has been the prime defender of Saudi Arabia going back decades. You'll remember the reason for the Gulf War in 1991 when Saddam Hussein occupied Kuwait, and we were protecting Saudi Arabia for a possible invasion to the south and using air bases that we established here years before that to launch our sorties from. Well, now the U.S. wants to dial back our involvement, at least in terms of how much it's costing us to defend countries in this region. And by selling Saudi Arabia these arms, it could take some of the pressure off the United States, according to Rex Tillerson, the Secretary of State, who appeared at a press conference here at our hotel earlier today alongside the Saudi Foreign Minister, Adel Al-Jubeir. As for Jubeir said that this really is a historic point, and it's a turning point in relations between the United States and Saudi Arabia, really increasing the strategic partnership between the two countries. Now, in terms of what Saudi Arabia is looking for from the United States is a greater commitment and a firm commitment to rein in Iran. And there were some problems during the Obama administration, of course, with the signing of that nuclear deal. That Saudi Arabia really believed that the policy of the Obama administration was more containment of Iran, try to work together with Iran, some form of cooperation, but nothing that was changing Iran's bad behavior. They like the tough talk coming from President Trump and this administration. They also like the tough talk from the president on ISIS and terrorism, though it really does befall Saudi Arabia to get with the program, at least when it comes to ISIS, because they see Iran as the greater threat. We see Iran as a threat, but our greatest fear is that ISIS terrorists come to the United States and start committing acts of terror, as we've seen all over Europe. So, Julie, it looks like this first day has gone very well. The president said it was a really terrific day, and now we listen to the chanting and the dancing and the drums of the Arda there at Murabba Palace. Julie?
All right, John Roberts, live in Saudi Arabia. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So a lot going on right now. Today marks the beginning of an ambitious 9-day international tour where President Trump will meet with dozens of world leaders. Sarah Westwood is the White House correspondent for the Washington Examiner. She joins us now with her perspective on this trip. Tell me your first initial reaction when you saw the president meet with King Salman, who came out to meet him and greet him at the airport.
I think there were some great images from that coffee ceremony that the two of them shared at the terminal. It was clear that the Saudis from the beginning were prepared to pull out all the stops to welcome President Trump to Riyadh. It shows that they're very excited about the changes his administration is signaling they'll make to the U.S.-Saudi Arabia relationship. And if this day of events is any indication, then this trip is going to accomplish a lot in terms of reasserting U.S. credibility in the region, credibility in the eyes of our allies in the region, particularly Saudi Arabia and Israel. Clearly, the president has a busy schedule today, and for the rest of this trip, he has dozens of events. He'll be meeting with dozens of leaders. It will be a very ambitious and aggressive schedule.
Absolutely. We are watching the president right now, and I to interrupt you, but the president right there being shown at some paintings and meeting with people there at Murabba Palace there in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Sir, I want to get to another point here, and that's the fact that this has been a good day, $110 billion in contracts for arms sales. That means, as the president said, jobs, jobs, jobs. And that will relate well to a lot of people here in the United States who support the president and want to see him do well. This trip could have significant impact on America's economy.
Exactly. That $110 billion arms deal with Saudi Arabia kind of kills two birds with one stone in terms of the president's agenda. It creates jobs back home, which is obviously good for the economy, but it also does a lot to strengthen the relationship with Saudi Arabia, to empower them to counter Iranian aggression in the region, to win increased cooperation when it comes to countering extremism. Those are all goals of the president's visit to Saudi Arabia that are furthered by that arms deal. So he's accomplishing really a twofold goal with the extension of that deal.
And that is so